Have you ever felt shame about challenges in your relationship? Before you label it as toxic, watch this video. The term toxic, in my opinion, is so overused on social media. Let me just say, just to be clear, I am not referring to domestic violence. Most relationships are not inherently toxic. They're challenging. And the reality is, most of us are flying by the seat of our pants in our relationship and dealing with our challenges, and we're trying the best we can with the knowledge that we have. I believe that framing issues like blame, lack of accountability, or lack of empathy as inherently toxic can make you feel hopeless. It's more productive to identify them as challenges that can be understood and addressed, giving you hope and tools to improve your relationship and yourselves. When I work with couples, they communicate their hurt with hurtful words all the time. I worked with a woman whose husband had a great deal of shame due to his trauma from childhood, and she communicated her hurt so much, most of the time, in a very shaming way. She didn't realize it. It was not her intention to be shaming, but we don't often have the understanding or the learning to know how to communicate our hurt, our frustrations, things that annoy us in a more productive way. You know, when I was working with her, I would say to her, let me help you say this in a way where you could feel heard and understood. Now, I will share with you that there were many times when we would be in session, she and I, and she would say, I'm so frustrated with him. He doesn't do anything. I'm taking care of the kids all the time, and he just sits around and watches TV. And then she'd say to me, I know I'm being shaming right now. And I knew in that moment, which he wasn't in the room, by the way. She was just talking to me. But she needed to be validated. So she needed to get it out of her system. And I would validate her frustration and say, I know you have a lot on your plate. Like, you do a lot. And that would allow her to shift to a place of, okay, I'm ready now for you to help me say this to him in a non-shaming way. And then their conversations would be so much more productive. And the other interesting thing that would happen is that when I would validate her, she was then able to get to a place of, you know, he will drive the kids anywhere that they need to go, and he does make dinner. Like, after she was able to move out of her frustration and feel validated, then she was able to see the things that he does bring. And not only that, one might say that he struggled with empathy, but when she was communicating to him in an accusatory way or a shaming way, he wasn't able to be empathetic. But when she learned how to communicate in a way that was, you know, more expressing her needs and expressing her worries and expressing her concerns, he was able to be empathetic. And lack of empathy is also labeled as toxic. And again, let's look at this in degrees. People struggle with empathy at different levels. So, for example, if she always communicated in her angry way, one could say that he lacked empathy, when the truth was they just didn't know how to talk to each other. And you know, we also, to be empathetic, we have to be in tune to our emotions. We live in a culture that shuts down emotions. You know, get over it. When our emotions are shut down, empathy is gone. To be empathetic, you must be able to connect with your own emotions. A lot of people think that being empathetic is to connect to another person's experience. Like, let's say you've been divorced and another person has been divorced, and you say, oh my gosh, I totally understand what you've been through. That's not empathy. Empathy is connecting your emotions. So I know what shame feels like. to another person's emotions. It could be for completely different experiences, but you're connecting emotion to emotion. Another behavior that's labeled as toxic is criticizing. But sometimes we just don't know how to express to our partner what it is that frustrates us, so it comes out as criticism. This can be unlearned, and new learning can take its place. What I do worry about most in relationships is when resentment builds. I'm referring to a strong degree of resentment because, again, we can all have resentments at a 1 or a 2. But when resentment gets to a really strong degree, that's when it erodes trust and intimacy, and communication can become extremely negative, and it can cause feelings of contempt and prevent forgiveness, and it makes it difficult to appreciate any positive interactions. I am not suggesting that this cannot be worked through, but in that case, it will likely take guidance from a therapist to help both of you get to a place of repair. But here's the good news. Most of these behaviors that I'm referring to can be understood, addressed, and changed. So when you work together with patience, you can overcome these challenges and build a stronger, healthier relationship. So let's try to focus on understanding and growth rather than labels and shame. And together you can navigate the complexities of relationships, because believe me, they are complex, and you can work towards a more fulfilling and loving connection. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe because I would love to see you again soon.